Hello, creative friends. My name is Susie, and I am the owner of the Speckled Loon. Welcome to my channel. If you have never been here before, I want to say thank you for finding us, and I hope you like the content. And if you do, give us a subscribe, or if anyone can give this video a thumbs up, that would be great. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. We're so glad that you found us and came back again to view our videos. This month, we have got something new. Normally we were doing monthly boxes. We have changed our DIY decor kits to a quarterly subscription box model. What that means is every 3 months you will get a box of decor from our workshop sent right to your door, and it's going to be full of fun seasonal projects, and all of them are interchangeable and work together, and it's a blast to create. And everything is going to be mini, and like I said, interchangeable, seasonal, for holidays, the seasons, etc. The one we're going to be doing today is our summer 2023 quarterly subscription box. If you're interested in joining, all the information is down below, as well as links to all the products that I use, etc. to finish up the kit. But for now, let's start with our DIY projects. I'll explain everything that's in the kit, and it's time to get creative. Let's go. Projects in this kit are small and they are interchangeable. We've got our lemon theme. You're going to see there's a double-sided garland there. There's the one for our bee theme, and there's the one for our sunshine theme. And they clip onto this garland base so you can swap them out easily. And then there is a round base frame that's going to hold a round insert, the lemon, the bee theme, and your sunshine theme. Next, there is a little cart that you are going to make and assemble. And again, I'm going to show you how to do everything in this tutorial. But at the top of the cart, there's a little magnetic part to hold that little insert. And then each set has a banner that hangs off the cart. Showed you the lemon. There is your bee theme. And then again, your sunshine theme. And all these are quite small projects, and they go by quick and easy to complete. All that little decor that's left over, that gets tucked right into that cart. And that kind of gives you the gist of everything that you're going to see. I will show you each unfinished project as we make them, so you can make sure you have all the pieces and parts to complete your kit. So now let's go over the other things I put in there. You get some tools and extras in your kit. And I'm going to go over each and everything, and if you're missing anything, my email's below. You just let me know. But the first thing you're going to get is a few of these flat end swabs. They are great to use with painting on small areas if you do not have any paint markers. Paint markers are your friend, but these will work too. For bigger areas, we've got these little foam wedges in there. You can just use those to apply the paint. Once the paint dries, you can just snip off the bottom of them and reuse them, or rinse them out and reuse them. You're also getting a tube of gel super glue. This is perfect for putting everything together. It gives you a few seconds of time to set up before it's permanent. And for the little parts, you can put it on with these toothpicks. Also, the toothpicks are great for dragging through the scored lines on your project to keep them crisp. You're getting an extra window insert for your cart if you don't want a seasonal one. And each of the window inserts also gets a little magnet, and a magnetic disc goes on the cart, so they're easily stuck on there and will stay on. Finally, you get a very nice set of printed instructions and other resources in there. I'll link to a playlist and some recipes, etc. That's all going to be in there, and it's linked below in the description box. You're also getting a bonus crafting tool. We try to include a bonus crafting tool in all our packages and boxes. And this month it is a black and a white paint marker. You use it throughout the projects, and it's a great alternative to having used paint on a brush. Finally, you're going to need to provide a few things. The first thing is your main colors of paint. We do not supply paint because everybody likes to put their own spin on the projects. We use chalk paint or paint markers. But you can also use little 2-ounce acrylic craft paints that you can get at like Walmart or the craft store for under $1. You just need to put on more coats. If you have paintbrushes that you use and techniques, by all means, just use what you have. You don't have to use what we provide. We just do that as a convenience. Finally, I keep talking about paint markers, but they are your friend on these little projects. They make a nice, neat end product. You can do multiple coats and they look great. So consider investing in a few. I've got mine linked below. You're going to need a sharp pair of scissors for cutting your ribbon and string. Fabric scissors do work best, but just super sharp. The sharper the better. Paper plates are great to protect your work surface and paint these little pieces on to keep everything together. Just grab a few and have those on hand for when you paint. And I like to mask off things with masking tape, or I make a loop and stick it to my paper plate and put the tiny things on top, sticky side up, and then it's super easy to paint. So some masking tape or painter's tape. Finally, some wet wipes are great. Baby wipes, makeup wipes, or wet paper towels to clean up excess paint, clean it off the edges of your pieces, and keep your hands clean too. It is time to get our base pieces made, painted, and assembled, and then they are going to be ready for displaying all the projects you're going to make. We are going to start out with our interchangeable market cart. I did this one in a blue and white theme. In fact, all those pieces that you see white are double-sided with kind of an enamel coating on them. Reason being is if you paint this cart and get a lot in the slots, your pieces won't go together. So I just have it pre-painted for you on both sides and it gives it a nice finished look. You can customize the awning on top and the wheel to be whatever color you want. I did it in blue here. We're going to do it in a sunny yellow when I'm doing it for the kit. But first, all I did was I took my sponge and I did a couple coats of white on the top because I want my awning to be every other color. And it's just easier to paint the base all white, drag your toothpick through those little lines to keep them crisp, and then just use masking tape to do a different color complementary to your kit on every other stripe on that awning. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm just securing the piece down with some masking tape on either side of a stripe, and I'm going to do every other stripe in this bright sunny yellow. I'm just using a paint marker again and dragging that toothpick through. And then I'm just going on and I'm going to do the next stripe and the next stripe and the next stripe. I try not to do right over the one that I just did with the tape so it doesn't pull up any paint, if that makes sense. So I will do one and then the other and work my way in. While stuff is drying, I may do that little wheel at the same time, just so I keep everything flowing and am going at the same time. So there I'm just taking my marker and I have this sped up because me using a marker is very repetitive, but I want to show you the steps as best I can. So just take your time and do it at your own pace. I just sped it up here so you don't have to watch me for a million minutes coloring things in because it is repetitive. But here I'm just finishing up on the awning, and once that is painted, I'll set that aside and we will start putting our cart together. Once everything's dry, then it's time to start putting things together. Your front of the cart that's going to go there. Your colored wheel is going to go right on top of there. To glue that on, it's quite simple. You are going to take your glue, your super glue, put a little on a toothpick on the back and just line it up. They are perfectly sized, like everything in this kit, to just fit right on top of each other. And what I like to do is get it all lined up, and then once I have it perfect, I bring it close to me to look and double check, and then I press to set it, and it only takes a few seconds to set. But you do have a little bit of working time with that gel super glue. Now you're going to see I use a different type of glue here. Reason being, I do hundreds of projects. I make and sell my projects, and so I have some glue in a larger tube that I use, but it's the same principle. It's got a fine applicator tip that would work just like the toothpick that I provide in your kit. But I put it on the back, and then I just line everything up on the top and the edges and make sure that it goes in and is lined up perfectly, and then it's ready to roll. So now we are going to do the brackets. I'm just showing you how they go in there. They just snap right in, and we're going to just affix them with a little glue. The one on the right side that's got the two little holes for the handle, that's what you want to go on the right side, and the other brace or bracket will go on the left, and the taller part goes on the back and the shorter part on the front. And this shelf is the first thing that we're going to put together with it. The shelf, it doesn't matter which is the front or the back, it's identical, but we're going to put a notch. That notch right there, we're going to put just a drop of glue. Like I said, you're going to use your toothpick, and we do it right on that notch, and then you're going to take your brace and going to slide it right in that slot. It's easier if I work with two hands instead of trying to hold the glue. And then you're going to repeat the process on the other end. Again, you can see that notch on either side of that little bump out. That's where your glue is going to go. Just remember on this project, glue in the notches. This is the most complicated project there is to paint and assemble. All the rest go together quite easily, but this is a little more intricate, and you just take your time and get the glue in the notches. You don't need a ton of glue. Like I said, just a drop in each one. Easiest for you is going to just do a small squeeze on your toothpick and then put it right in those little areas. It does dry clear, so if you get a little excess, it's not a huge deal. You can use your Q-tips or your little sponges to clean up any excess that might ooze out. So now I'm just on the braces doing the dots, and then on the back of the cart. Now I'm going to just line that up with those notches, and everything should, as designed, line right up with each other, and I just give it a good press and hold for a few seconds to let it set up before I proceed to the next piece. The next part we are going to do is that front with the wheel, and we just need to get a little glue in the front part of those side braces and then in the notches of the cart front. So I'm just doing the one bracket on the right, and then I'm going to be doing the front cart, and then the left bracket. Then I'm just snapping in that cart, pressing down, making sure all those little slots get the corresponding notch in them, and press down. Then when it's done, you've got that. The last thing we need to do is put the handle in. And the handle is that little C-shaped object down there. We also have to glue the magnet on. Forgot about that. So you're going to have a little circle in the middle. Mine's open. Yours will not be. It's just going to be a little circle. Just kind of center, put a little dab of glue in there and center that disc in there. Does not have to be perfectly centered. The little inserts have a magnet and they're going to stick in there regardless. It's a very thin little metal disc, so things won't stick out too far. So now I'm taking my little handle and I'm putting a drop of glue on either side of that little bump out. So in each little notch. And then those are going to go in that corresponding holes right there. Again, just press and hold to set it. And then your cart is ready to roll, and this will store right in your little box that your decor came in when it's not in use. And it makes for a nice little shelf. You can use it year-round, and it's going to work with our future kits too. But you can see you've got your magnetic at the top, and the banner is going to hang across the front. And I painted it in blue and in yellow. Our next project is going to be our interchangeable garland base. For this project, this is what the finished one looks like, and you've got this little clasp that's going to be at one end where the tags are going to hang off for each project. Your string comes attached to the tassel, and these are the sets of beads. You're getting 6 of each kind of bead. You've got a large white, a small white, a large natural, small natural, and yellow. and those are going to be strung on in an order, and you've got this little thread tie or twist tie that's going to work as your needle. If it's too thick, you can trim it down if you need be, but basically I take a double thickness of the string and fold that little twist tie in half and make it be just like a needle for threading things through. Otherwise, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So what I'm deciding on here is the order that I want my beads into. I'm going small white, large natural, large white, small natural, and then yellow. And I'm just going to do 6 courses of the identical order. So I start by threading them on, and as each course is done, I bring them all the way down to the tassel. Again, I've already attached it to the tassel for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And I've got more than enough bead string here for you, so you've got lots of extra string to work with, because if you don't have enough, that's kind of a pain. So you just pull them through. There's your first course. We are just going to repeat this 6 times until all the beads are strung onto your garland. Now, if you don't like the look of the natural beads, I have linked below in the description box a couple of different sources on how you can paint the beads. I've done it on past kits. Customers, some like to do that, some do not like to do that. I'm just giving you the option. But we basically picked this color combination because the yellow tassel, the yellow beads, and the yellow hook kind of bring in that central color of yellow between the bee kit, the lemon kit, and the sunshine kit. And that's why we've got yellow as the accent in this garland base. But again, you could change it up. If you've got beads on hand, you can add them in here. You can put in different colors. This is your project. I gave you plenty of extra string for you to do it however you want. So once you have got all the beads strung on, then it's time to put on your plastic clasp. So you're going to take your needle and run it through. Again, if your needle is too thick, just go ahead and trim it down to either side of the wire. But you're going to pull that to that little hole from the clasp is all the way up to the hole in that first bead. I'm cutting off some of the excess string. It's just going to make it easier to work with. Then I'm going to rethread my needle. But you want to get that hole all the way up that so you have a nice tight fit between your clasp and your final bead there. Once that is done, I'm going to run it through that hole one more time to just give it some extra security. So there, I'm just redoing my needle, and you'll see I'm going to just force it through one more time so it's nice and tight. Just coming up through the bottom. There we go. And pulling it through. And I'm going to pull it as tight as possible so I have just a tiny bit of slack, not much slack between that bead and the clasp. Then what I'm going to do is run that needle up through a couple of the beads. This is going to allow me to tie off the string nice and tight, and then I'm going to be able to tuck that knot that I'm going to make in that bead. So I take my needle off, I'm pulling my string apart, and I'm going to do one just square knot, and I'm going to pull it super tight. Then I'm going to flip it over, and so I do another square knot 2 times, so a double knot around. So basically that string that I was using is wrapped around the center string. And I'm pulling it as tight as I can. And then once I have it nice and tight, I am going to take my scissors and do a snip down as close as I can to that knot without cutting the knot. And then I'm just tucking it in underneath that second bead right there. And then you've got your nice garland all ready for your tags. Now we are going to go ahead and finish up our base pieces by doing the round base frame. That consists of 2 pieces, a base and an outer frame, and that little ring is going to hold inside each one of our inserts. It doesn't need a magnet or anything because it sits in that little stand tilted back. Now, in order to get good placement for your circle, there is a lightly scored circle on your base piece, so you know exactly where to put that so it will be centered. For the base piece, I just painted it white. You can use a brush like that or the sponge brushes, and I drag the toothpick through when the paint is wet to get a nice, even, crisp line, making it look like shiplap. And I let that dry. I paint my ring. I did mine black. You can do yours whatever color you'd like. And I use that inner ring that's going to be faintly visible for lining it up, and it couldn't be an easier project. The little stand that comes with it, you get, it's 2 pieces and it's slotted. You just fit the slots into each other, and then you take your finished sign and just put it in there, and it will rest and hold your pieces. Nothing says summer like Honeybee Decor. It's bright, it's sunny, it's fun, and we have got a nice little set to make that's going to go with all our interchangeable pieces. As you can see, we have this fun double-sided garland. It says "Be Kind" on one side, and the other one has got a little honeycomb with a dipper and a little mini bee sticker. Then we got a little gnome. He's got a sticker on his hat, a Be Happy banner, and the interchangeable bee Skep sign that's going to go in the round sign. And for the top of the cart, we have our little bee insert with a couple of bees on it. So you can kind of see how everything tucks in there. And we also have that little honey dipper as well. There's nothing to even do on that project. You just tuck it in. And then your cart banner goes on the front, and you are ready to celebrate summer with your Bee Decor. So let's get some made. We are going to start off with a super easy project, the Honeybee window insert. It's basically a 1-inch disc with a couple of bee stickers on it. So it's pretty easy to do, and it goes right in the top of the market cart just like that. So you're going to start off with a blank, plain unfinished shiplap wood disc that's about 1 inch around, and on the back of that is going to go a magnet that will stick to the cart, and on the front of it you're going to have your 2 bees. What I did with this little disc is I just took that white marker and I colored it in, and then I took a toothpick and drug it through each line while the paint was wet to make sure that I had a nice crisp shiplap line on the base. And then the bees are actually little stickers that you can see. They have a little foam backing on them. You're just going to remove the white paper backing from the bees as well as the magnet. The bees you're going to stick to the front, and the magnet you're going to stick to the back, and then your project is complete and ready to be mounted onto the market cart. Project is our Be Happy market cart banner. This is going to hang off the front of your cart, and it consists of this little banner and the words Be Happy and a little wooden bee sticker. It's going to hang right off the front of your cart, and the hooks are included as well. They are pre-painted white. So let's get busy making this banner. It's going to hang off your cart. First things first, make sure you've got all the pieces. If you are missing any pieces, just drop me an email. It's down below and I'll get it to you. But what I did was I took my sponge and I painted the whole banner white, and then I drug my toothpick through that scored line to give it some good definition. I did 2 coats on that as well because it just shows up better on the white with 2 coats. Then I'm going to take the words Be Happy. They have a self-adhesive backing. You just have to remove that paper to expose the adhesive. And I'm taking that black paint marker like you got in your bonus, and I'm just coloring across the tops of the letters. This gives it a nice crisp look and clean. If you don't have a black marker, you can go ahead and use whatever color marker you have, or you can use that Q-tips that we provided and drag those across the top and color. Now, once your banner base is good and dry, I'm taking a yellow marker and I switched it out to the fine tip. You can use tweezers to do that. I forgot my tweezers. I was doing this at a place that was not my home. So I just went ahead and used a paper towel, but I'm coloring in as close to those lines as possible with that fine tip. Once I have it colored in, then I'm going to flip it back to the bullet tip on the marker and color in the rest of that top, like a honey drip basically. The color I'm using of the Arteza marker is, I believe it's called Bumblebee Yellow. And I have a set of 40 markers with all kinds of colors, and I'm going to leave that linked in the description box below. It's a great value, and you can often find it on sale. Just go on their website, arteza.com, and you can get signed up for their list, and they'll let you know when stuff is on sale. But basically now we just need to adhere our letters, our words. Each word is fused together, so it's just 2 pieces basically. So I'm just looking at it and eyeballing how I want the letters to be. And then I am going to go on the back and just get my fingernail under there, what little fingernail I have, and I'm going to pull that off and it exposes it. It's got a sticky backing. And I'm just going to put that on the bottom. And then I'm going to repeat that with the happy. And I'm just eyeballing where they go. It's pretty easy placement. It's not, difficult, and they're kind of crooked anyway, so if it's not exact, you're fine. The last part of this is we do have one of those little wood bead stickers for this. They have an adhesive backing too. You just need to pull off the little white paper and tuck it in. And then your Be Happy banner is complete. We started you off with a couple of easy projects, so now we're going to get with something that's a little more involved. We are going to do your double-sided garland tag. It is a pre-painted white tag that has got Be Kind on one side and a honeycomb and a bee dipper and a bee sticker on the other. It also comes with these cute little beads, ribbon, and string, and a D-ring that's going to attach to your interchangeable garland. So it comes with everything unpainted, and you're going to paint it, and I used markers on this, and markers worked best for me. If you do not have the markers you need, you can use the Q-tips to paint the small parts, but you do have the black marker from the bonus that will be great for the bee and the word kind. And then I used a yellow marker on the honeycomb, and I think I used brown on the honey dipper. Like I said, that tag is white and it is pre-painted and has that enamel finish. I'm going to show you how I did the honeycomb. I always like to tape things down. I did 1 coat already with a yellow marker, and yellow does not cover that great. So what I like to do with my yellow markers is I always like to do 2 coats. So you can see here I've done 1 coat already, and I'm just going over it with a 2nd coat. I didn't like the color of the original one. I just went it over with a little bit brighter yellow, and it's ready to roll. Then I took my brown marker and I went over the honey dipper with that. The little bee sticker is pre-printed. There's nothing to do there. So I'm going to set those items aside. Next, I'm going to take that black marker and I'm going to take that and go over the word kind. And I'm just going on the top. I'm not worrying about the sides at all. That's the nice thing about these markers is you can just go over the top. And then for your bee, it's got separate parts. The little stripes are cut out. So you're going to do the bee and then the stripes. So I did the bee in the black and the stripes in the yellow. And then they're going to glue right in there. But first we'll go ahead and I'm taking my fine applicator on my Star Bond glue, which I've linked below. Your glue is in a little tube. You can just take and apply a little bit on the end of a toothpick to get the small dots that you need. You do not need much. Once you have it lined up with the edge on that honeycomb, you just hold it up against the tag for a few seconds and then that glue is set. Next, you are going to figure out where you want your honey dipper to be, what angle, where it's going to be, and where it's going to hit the actual wooden part. And you're going to put a little bit of glue on the back of that where it's going to hit the honeycomb wood. And you're just going to lay that across at whatever angle you like and press and hold until it's set. The final piece on this is our little bee sticker. You're going to pick him up, and on the back he's got a little adhesive backing that can be exposed by taking the white paper backing off. And then I just tucked him right inside one of the honeycombs and he is ready to roll. So that side is done. So now you're going to flip this over and you are going to do the other side. The word kind has adhesive to it also. So you're going to take the word kind and just set it down there for placement. And then you're going to glue your bee on. I just did a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom and pressed it in. Eventually those stripes will go in. But I'm going to take the adhesive back or the paper backing off the word kind to expose the adhesive. And I'm just going to lay that down right on there. Now I'm just going to make sure I know which stripe goes in which opening. And I'm going to attach those. When you get yours in the kit, it might be held together with a piece of painter's tape on the back so you don't lose your stripes. And that way you can keep them in order as well when you're painting them. So I'm just doing a small dot of glue in each opening. And then I'm just laying the corresponding stripe in each opening and press it down for a few seconds, and then that is done. So now your tag is complete. You can set that aside. We are going to get working on the string. So you have got some fun little beads and a D-ring and a string. And first you're going to take your string and it is going to be doubled up and you've got a loop. You're going to put the loop through the D-ring. Then you're going to take your other end of the string and just thread it through the loop and you're going to pull it tight so it's looped around the D-ring, and that's going to act as your base for us stringing the strings on. Now to string your beads, I have included a twist tie or bread tie in there. I use that for the needle. It may be too thick. If it is too thick, you can take a scissor and trim it up on either side of the rib of the wire in the middle, and then it will be thin enough to go through that little bee bead. That's the first one I'm stringing on there. Once you string on your first bead, just pull it all the way down. Repeat up with whatever order you would like to do. I did the striped bead, the black bead, a white bead, a checkered bead, a yellow bead, and a natural. But you can do whatever order you want. It really doesn't matter. Then we want to bring it up and through the bottom of the tag. And we're going to pull it semi-tight. We're going to leave just a bit of slack. The reason being is we have ribbon to tie on there. So I'm taking this and I'm going to thread it behind that thread right there. And now I'm going to bring it through and up on the hole one more time. So it's good and secure. And we've got several thicknesses of string now. Now I'm going to take and cut off some of this excess string. I don't need it all. I'm going to rethread my needle, and what I'm going to do is bring that string up through a couple of the beads. What we're going to end up doing is tying that string around the center string and doing a double knot and tucking it inside that yellow bead so it's not noticeable anymore. And before I tie, I'm just going to tighten everything up, make sure I don't have too much slack, and I'm pulling it. So now I'm going to take off the needle. I'm going to do one knot and pull it tight. Then I'm going to flip it over and go on the other side, and I'm going to do a double knot. So like I said, we've got that string wrapped around the middle one a couple of times, double knotting it. Now I'm going to just do a quick snip, and I am going to bury that underneath that yellow bead there, and you don't even see the knot. Now I'm going to do a twist on my ribbon, and I'm going to do it around the back and just do a quick square knot, one tie, and I am going to trim the ribbon with my scissors to have a bird's beak, and you can do it with just a slash. And then if you want your ribbon not to fray, which it does do that sometimes, you can run a bead of your glue along it. You can run some fray check along it. Some people use a lighter and others use hairspray, anything to keep that from fraying. But your bee garland tag is done, and it is ready to be attached to the base garland piece. Our next project is the Bee Skep round signed insert. Some people call these a beehive. I looked it up. It's called a Bee Skep. So I want to call it by the right name. And this is just a little layered sign that is going to go into our round sign base. I basically just sponged on the yellow paint on the circle and on the heart. I used a light brown marker on the front of the skep and the overlay per se, and I did a dark brown on the base. Now here's just a quick showing you. I did the yellow heart, and then I'm just doing again like a light coverage with the brown marker. I want to give it a weathered look. A bee skep is kind of a weathered piece. Now this overlay, I did it a lighter brown, but really you could just leave it unpainted as well. That's fine because it's just supposed to be an overlay with some detail, and the lighter it is, the better it looks. The other thing we've got is our little bee, another bee sticker. We're going to just put that right on the heart. I'm going to put a little glue on the back of the skep. Again, you can use your toothpicks. Just get it on that heart will be the main part. And then this lines up perfectly with the base piece. So just line them up and then press them down. And then you're going to just simply glue the heart onto the spot right on the front of the overlay there, over that heart. Then you've got that part complete. Then the final part is just to add a little glue to the back of the base, and you're going to put it on the round base. So I'm going to get that glued and lined up, kind of figure out where I want it. And I'm just applying glue on the back. I obviously did that off camera. I apologize for that. But just a few dots and press it to adhere, and then put it in your round base, and your bee skep is done. This is two projects in one. It is the Beekeeper Gnome and the Honey Dipper. The Beekeeper Gnome is really the only project we have to work with. The Honey Dipper is a non-project. It's just a little piece you're going to tuck into your cart. If you want to put a ribbon around it or something, you certainly can, but I'm just leaving mine as is. I'm going to worry about the gnome. He's got his base, his hat, his little honey pot, and a pair of mittens. And the easiest way to do the base is just paint the whole thing white. I used my white paint and my sponge, and I used a toothpick on that bottom part to make sure that score line was clean. And then I'm going to use yellow and black markers on the hat, brown on the nose, and then a combination of markers on the Honey Dipper, and on the mittens I'm going to use a black. So we're going to take out the base of the gnome and work with that first, I believe. So there I have painted it all white with that sponge. And then I'm doing the top antenna with my black marker. You should have gotten a marker in your bonus. If you didn't get a bonus, it means that you ordered it and the bonus parts were gone because it was limited. So for the bottom part, I am doing yellow, and I want to get the thinner part of my marker on. So I just used the paper towel because I forgot my tweezers to change it out. But I'm going to go in and align it first with the thin part of the marker and then color it in. And that gives that little peekaboo of yellow to the bottom of our gnome. Now we're going to go ahead and get to work on the hat. So the hat, I did a color of some yellow already on the base, and then I did a second coat of yellow on the top and on the bottom stripe, and then I'm going to go in with the middle stripe and do that in black. But first I'm going to take a brown marker and color in the nose. Now the nice thing about this is there's a score line there, so it's very easy to stay in the score line. Same with the black. And then once that's all colored in, I am ready to have that be on the top of the gnome. I'm going to take one of my bee stickers, apply that to the hat. I just removed the adhesive backer covering. It was paper backing off the air. And then I'm going to just set that aside, and we're going to get to work on the honey pot. I did do the honey pot in one base color of yellow all over, and I've already colored the mittens with a black marker. I'm just going over the honey pot now with a yellow marker on the bottom to kind of give it a more lighter look. And then I am going to color in the top part of the honey pot with a darker brown up top. So it gives it a little more dimension and looks more realistic. And I did do a different color than in the middle, kind of a lighter brown. So I've got 3 colors going on there, and I just use those score marks as my guide. And if I got over anything, I just colored over it with the color marker to correct it, and it looked great. And I drug my toothpick through it, and it was fine. So now we're going to take our hat. We are going to go ahead and put little dabs of glue on the back all around, and then we are going to line that up with the hat portion of the gnome. It should fit on there exactly. They are the same size and design to fit right one on top of the other. Like a lot of the things in this set, it's designed to look great but easy to put together. So once that's set and good, the glue takes a few seconds, so you can kind of have a little wiggle room. I press it to adhere it, and then I'm going to put the honey pot directly in the middle under his nose, giving just a little gap between his nose and the honey pot. Then I'm going to glue, thumbs up, a mitten on either side. So I'm going to take my glue once that is set and do a little dot of glue on the indentation for each mitten and press it in. And then your honeybee gnome is done, and he is ready to tuck into your cart with the rest of your honey decor. And we will be making the last piece of that in the next project. We have one last project to do for our honeybee decor. It is a mini honeycomb. It is an easy little 2-piece project consisting of a backer and a honeycomb overlay. I just used 2 colors in this one. I painted the backer white with a sponge, and I did a yellow marker on the overlay. The sponge technique, again, you can just use that sponge and color it white, and then I did 2 coats, just FYI. I'm also doing 2 coats on the yellow. Yellow just covers better with 2 coats, so I'm just going over the honeycomb with its second coat of yellow marker. And then I am lining them up and going to glue them together. To put them together, you're just going to take the yellow honeycomb overlay, and I always like to do a dry run first, and then I'm going to do several just teeny tiny dots. Again, you can just use your toothpick to apply your super glue. I'm doing that on the very back, and I am just lining it up best I can, and they are the same size, so it should be a precise alignment. and I am just pressing them together. Once they're all done, they are going to be tucked into the market cart with the Honey Dipper and the Beekeeper Gnome. We are going to make some lemon lime mini decor. This is the next set that we are making that will go in your interchangeable base pieces. These are all the pieces and parts to your lemon mini decor. First off, we've got the lemon slice circle. If you'd rather make it a lime, you certainly could, or even an orange. We've got the lemon tag and lemonade on the other side. And again, that's that interchangeable garland base that will hook into that D-ring at the top of your double-sided tag. And here's all the parts that kind of go in the cart. We've got the insert, the lemon sign, the gnome, the lemon lime duo, and then this little lemon lime banner that will go on the front of the cart. I did most of these lemons, but again, you can color them limes if you'd rather. And let's start making some projects. Let's make the lemon window insert for the market cart for a lemon lime decor set. This is what it's going to look like up in that magnetic portion of the market cart in that opening. Again, there'll be a little disc that we put on the back that's got a magnet. But this is just an easy 2-part project, super tiny. Again, it's like a 1-inch square. I just used a white marker like the one you got in your bonus to color in the actual shiplap circle. And then after I did it with the paint marker, I drug my toothpick through to make sure that those lines stayed nice and crisp. Then I took kind of an orangey marker and did 1 coat over the whole lemon part. I did the leaf and everything, which is fine because we're going to color that later. But I went over with a brighter yellow, and then I did dots all over it to give it more of that lemon texture. I'm going to do that with all our lemon projects in this kit, so you'll see it easier on a bigger one than I do. But then I just took a green marker and put the finer tip on it, and same with the brown marker to do the leaf and the stem. Once it's done, you just need to have a drop of glue or 2 on the back of your lemon, and then place it down on the shiplap base. So that's what I'm doing here, is just getting a little glue on there and pushing it down and holding it. It'll only take a second. Then I'm going to apply the magnet onto the back. And your magnets are going to come in a little white envelope, and it'll be marked. The back of my base is white because I was experimenting with paint colors, but yours will be unfinished, and that's fine. And that's what it looks like once you have it placed in the cart. Okay, how are we doing? You hanging in so far with all these projects? The next one is the lemon lime border for the market cart. Super easy to do. It's again got the little hooks. You just hook it right on the top of the market cart on the front there for a nice little accent to this set. The little hooks are included. You get a pair of hooks with every banner, so if you lose any, you'll always have some to use. And it just hooks right on to the front, like so. So here are all the little pieces and parts to the market cart banner. You are going to get the banner itself, which I painted with a green marker, and then the overlays are 3 lemons and 2 slices. So basically it looks like a lemon and a lime and a lemon and a lime and a lemon. I used the white marker on the slices and a yellow marker on the lemons. As you can see, I did an orangey yellow first. I'm going to come back over with a lighter yellow and do a second coat on each one. I'm going to show you that same technique I did before, where I go over them quickly with a marker, and then I go tap, 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 tap to make a bunch of little dot marks in the paint so it looks more like a lemon. Again, these are super small, so it's hard to see on these. I do it on a couple bigger lemons down the road here, so you'll see that. Once you have everything painted, then it's just a matter of gluing everything up. The slices, you just basically need a small dot of glue in the middle and they go. And the lemons are designed to fit right onto the lemons on the cart. So basically you just have to do a dot of glue on the middle of that base for the lemon, and then you just line it up. So I'm just looking at it up close and getting it all lined up and then pressing to hold. I'm going to repeat that process on the middle one and the end. So all my lemons are lined up. You'll see it's pretty obvious which way they go because that little bottom bump on the lemon lines up with the bottom bump on the base piece. And if you get off a little bit, it's not a huge deal. You've got a few seconds to work with it. Just give it a little pinch and it'll get in place. And I'm doing the last lemon, and then the next part I will just do the slices. Again, for the slices, you just need a little dab of glue in the middle. If you're afraid you're getting too much glue on, again, just apply it with your toothpick and your gel super glue, and that will work just fine. We'll get that on there. And being such a small project, you do not need a ton of glue at all. Just a very minimal amount is all you need. And there is a little scored circle on those. It's hard to see once it's painted, but there is a little scored circle. So you see exactly where to put that round slice piece. So basically it looks like a whole lemon, 3 of them with 2 slices of limes. And this is ready to hang on your market cart. It is time for another garland tag, again double-sided, and this is our lemon one, and it's got this adorable lime ribbon that goes with it. Double-sided, a lemon on one side and a pitcher of lemonade on the other. And you get your string and your ribbon and some beads to go with, and again that double-sided pre-finished white tag. We used markers on this, a yellow, green, and brown on the lemon and a yellow on the pitcher. It's a very easy project to do. I did the base coat in kind of that more golden lemon or a golden yellow color, almost an orange per se, very light orange. And the reason being I can get that depth when I do that second coat. And then I did green for the leaf with a marker. So this will show you a little bit better that lemon technique that I was talking about. I've got the lemon that I colored that darker yellow. Now I'm going over with the lighter yellow and I am coloring it in with the marker. And then I'm going all over dot, 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 dot with my tip of my marker to get that lemon look to it with all the dimples basically. You can see that a little bit on there. You don't have to do that technique. I just thought it gave it a little more of a realistic look. And I'm taking a couple of shades of brown till I find one that I like. I'm doing brown on the stem, and then the leaf is just going to get glued right on top like that. I'm going to do the similar technique with the pitcher. I did that base color and I'm going over with the lighter color. And then I'm going to do one more step with my white marker, like the one that you got in your bonus pack. What I'm going to do is once I have this all colored in, I'm going to take my white marker and I'm going to go around the edges of the openings that would be the ice cubes. And I'm going to go around the opening of that open part that's going to show a white through. So it just gives it a little bit more of a finished look or whatever. I just like the look of it. I didn't do it on the tag that I showed you, but I'm doing it on this one just to give it more definition to the piece. And I'm quickly going around each one with just the edge of the marker along the edge of the piece there, each opening. And then I'm going on the opening at the top of the picture. It just defines the project a little bit better. I like doing little things like that. If you have techniques you like to do, please share them with me. I'd love to teach the rest of the group. So now we're just going to glue a piece on either side of the tag. I'm just taking my glue, putting several dots and streams on there, and just holding it until it's down. And then I'm going to go on the other side of that pre-finished tag, and I'm going to do my dots on the back of the picture and just line that up as best as I can, just using my eyeballs, and get that lined up and press to adhere that. Now it's time to assemble the garland piece. So you're going to need your D-ring, your beads, and your string. This is going to go together like all the other ones. You are going to do a loop with your string doubled up, and you're going to loop it through your D-ring. So you put the loop through the D-ring, and then you put the ends of the string through the loop, and you pull it tight, and then you've got a secure piece of string in which to attach your beads. I had to do it twice there. Okay, now this is ready to go. Then we are going to take again our little wired twist tie that we have trimmed down to be thin enough to go through that lemon bead, because that has got the smallest opening. And I am putting them on in this order. I am going to start out with that cute little decorative lemon bead, and then just put them on a green one, a white one, one of the yellow ones. There's a plaid one, and a yellow and a natural. Once they are all strung, then it's time to put it on the tag. We're going to go up through the bottom of the tag, or back side of the tag, and go around one more time with our string, and up through the bottom of that tag again. I'm just pulling it tight there so I have a little bit of slack, but not a ton, going through that hole. And then I'm going to do the same thing that we did on our base garland. I am going to take and thread back up through a couple of beads and hide the knot that we make inside one of the beads. So I'm just taking my threading needle and pulling it through, and I'm going to do up at least one or two. I'm leaving a little slack there for our ribbon. I'm going to go up one more bead, and then I'm going to trim off the excess of that string, just so there's not so much string in the way while we try to tie our knot. Just makes it easier to work with. So I'm going to take my scissors and do a snip, set that needle aside, and I'm going to pull the two strings apart. I am going to tie one plain square knot on that side of the string, flip it over, go to the back side of the string, and tie a double knot. Again, that's so the string that we brought back up is wrapped around the string in the middle and tied nice and secure. Once that is double knotted up, I will take my scissors, trim that out, and get it as close to the knot as possible, and then hide the knot underneath that yellow bead there, or that second bead from the tag. And that way it's nice and secure, but it is concealed as well. And then once we put our once we put our ribbon on, then that is going to tighten everything up. So the ribbon, I'm going to fold in half and kind of just give it a twist. The print is only on one side of this ribbon, but I liked it so much I wanted to include it. So I'm keeping it kind of folded in half. I'm just doing a simple knot around the string and just pulling it taut best I can, and then keeping it folded up so the print shows on both sides. And then I am going to trim the ends at a slant. And again, if you want to get any fraying that might happen out of the way, you can just take a thin bead of glue and go across those edges, or you can do a little bit of fray check as well. But this is complete and ready to hang on your base garland. It's time for another easy two-piece project. It's quick and easy to put this one together. It is our lemon slice insert for the round sign. It is your lemon base and an overlay. Those are your two parts. What we did was we went ahead and used the foam brush or the foam piece sponge and did that darker orangey yellow on there, and then we're going to go over it again with our marker, and then we did the white marker on the overlay. You can just use your one from the bonus set. If you rather, you can paint it too with a swab. But we're going to go ahead and get this one going. So I've already got the base painted the first color, and we're going to go over that with that brighter yellow, and then we're going to do a little technique at the very end to give it some seeds as opposed to just the plain one that I made before. So there we've got it with the yellow marker. It gives it that little texture that we want. Looks more citrusy. I've got the white overlay already colored in with the marker, and that is dry now on the yellow, so we are going to line these up and glue them together. I'm going to take that white lemon overlay and put a little bit of glue in the middle and a little bit on each spoke, I guess you could call it. Again, you can use your fine tip applicator on your super glue or just put it on a little bit with a toothpick. And you're going to line that up. I like to take mine, put one hand on top and bottom, the other hand on the left and right, and get it good and lined up. They are the exact same size, so you shouldn't have any overlap. And then I was thinking, you know how when you slice into fruit and you get that little seed looking thing in there, or a seed, I guess it would be, in each section? I thought I wanted to make a seed. So what I did in each section is I pushed down to make a little bit of a dot with my white marker and then drug it toward the center. So it looked a little more like a seed, and I feel like that gave it a little bit more of a realistic look. What do you think? You could leave it plain or try that technique as well. Let me know what you try. Hope you like gnomes, because we are doing another one with this project. It is the lemon lime gnome. He has got a base, a cap, little fruit that he holds, shoes, and little mittens. And this is what he looks like all put together. We are going to paint him similarly here, maybe using a different technique or a color or two. But basically, he's going to be the same. So what I did with this is it was easy enough to just paint the whole base white. And then I took, while the paint was wet, I took my toothpick and did the technique where I scored out the lines really good so I had good definition. Then I'm going to be doing the hat and the pants portion with a green marker. I did a darker yellow marker on the base of the hat. I'm going to go over it with a lighter marker, and I'm going to use a brown for the nose. Then I've got the little fruit. I'm going to do the same technique that we've been doing on all our lemon projects with that darker yellow on the bottom and lighter yellow on the top. And then I used a lighter brown on the mittens for this one, and the darker brown on the shoes. And now we're going to show you how we paint each part quickly and then put him all together. So he will go on the market cart with the rest of your lemon lime decor. So we are going to do the green detailing on the gnome base. We are going to detail up the hat and the fruit, and then we've got our shoes and mittens that we'll need to take care of. So I'm just taking my green marker and I'm doing that little outline technique around the base and then coloring the top part. This one, if you get a little bit into the beard, just a tiny bit, you don't really have to clean it up because that overlay is going to cover it up. But be as careful as you can, getting it close there. And then you are going to do the same thing and paint the bottom part, which is like the pants. You're going to outline around the beard and then paint in with your marker. And I hope you don't mind me speeding this up. It's repetitive and I don't want you to get bored with watching me paint. You get the idea once you use a paint marker how to use it. So I'm doing that same lemon technique where it's that darker golden yellow on the bottom, and I'm doing the brighter lemon yellow on the top and doing the dots to get the little texture, if you will, into the lemons. I'm doing the same technique on the hat. I'm going to color in all the way around, doing that yellow lemony technique, and then in the middle with that little bump that kind of looks like a lemon, but that is actually the nose, and I'm going to go over that with a brown marker, kind of a dark brown. I didn't really have a good fleshy light colored marker, and I kind of like the look of the brown marker, kind of like, you know, he's been out picking lemons and he's got a little color. But there's lighter browns and darker browns. This is a little bit lighter than the brown that I used on the one on the right. And then I did the hands and the feet with the same technique. So now it's time to put him together. And just like all our other pieces, everything just lines up. So nice and neat. Makes it easy for you to assemble. You just lay that right on over the top. And there's your overlay of the lemon hat. Then you're going to take the fruit, and that just goes directly below the nose. So just center it as best you can. If you wanted a little kitty wampus, that's fine too. But I just put mine directly in the center. And then I'm just going to glue a mitten on either side of it. So in that little indentation there, your mittens fit perfectly. I'm just going to do a little drop of glue and get a right in there. I don't even put it on the mitten. I just put it right on the beard, just a drop of glue in there, and I'm going to throw that mitten on either side. I like my thumbs pointing up. You could do your thumbs pointing down if you wanted, but I prefer them this way. Then I'm just going to do a shoe on either bump out, I guess you would, outline for the feet. So I'm going to look at the bottom of the gnome and get everything ready there, and you can just take your shoe, line them up. It doesn't matter which one goes on which, they're identical. And you're going to get just a drop right on the base itself and line him up. And again, they just line right up with the edge. So there isn't really anything to overlap or overhang. It would just line up perfect with the edge, and then your gnome is complete. You're liking all the projects so far. I've got another easy one for you. This is this little two-piece lemons sign. The word lemons has got that adhesive backing on it, so you don't even need any glue for this one. It's a super simple one to do. You can just paint that base brown if you want and leave it be, or you can do like I'm going to do here and give it a little faux wood technique. So I'm going to take my dark brown marker first. Oh, first we're going to paint the word lemon, sorry. I'm going to do that with 2 coats of this nice bright lemon yellow. And while that's drying, then we will get to work on the base. So I'm taking a darker brown marker and I'm just doing a light coverage on it, not full coverage. You'll see kind of when I get to the middle, I'm just doing it kind of sparingly. I'm trying to give it kind of like a weathered wood look is what I'm trying to do. Then I'm coming over with a couple other colors of brown and going over it. And then I'm just taking an old stencil brush, stiff bristle brush, and kind of blending it all in to give it a wood look. Like I said, you don't have to do this. If you just want to color yours solid brown or whatever color you want, it would look cute navy blue and it would look cute black as well. But this is what I'm choosing to do. And I'll hold it up close. At the end, I'm giving it just a little outline with some white too to give it a really weathered look, almost driftwood-like. And you'll see that in there. And then I just blend it in really hard with that so it gives it a blended look and it doesn't look so harsh. And that's just one of the little techniques you can do. If it does come in too harsh, you can come in with your brown again and go over that white and just keep doing it until you have the look that you desire. When that is all done and that is dry, then you can take your lemons and you're just going to peel the adhesive backing off of that and go ahead and attach it right to the center of that little sign. And then it just tucks into the cart next to the gnome and makes a cute little addition to that. And we're going to go right there. And if you're wondering how to find something specific on this video, I've got all the projects timestamped below. So if you need to find something specifically, then it's easy to find. But this is the end product of our little lemon sign. We are down to our last lemon lime project. It is the lemon lime duo. You could do these both as lemons, both as limes. I liked one of each to give it a little more green in the project. And it's just basically a two-piece project with a base piece and a overlay that you're going to paint the contrasting color. There's scored lines for the leaves and stems, so it makes it super easy to finish. We are going to do this the same as we did our other parts with markers. I used a dark green or brighter green for the lime part, and then for the base I painted that whole thing in the yellow. Then I'm just going over with an accent of that brighter yellow and doing that same technique with the dots all over. Then I am going to take out my green marker, and using the fine edge, you can see where it's scored right in there. I'm going to do the leaves, and then I am going to repeat that with the brown to do the stems on both pieces. And you can see where over the lemon there, it is scored. The other one is not scored because that overlay is going to cover any overage that you might do. So I went over with a couple shades of brown on that to give it that wood look. And then on the lime, I wanted to lighten it up a little bit. It was a little dark. I went over it with a couple different types of green marker. I found one that made a good lime look to it. And then I just kind of spread it around with my fingers to give it more of a lime look to it, so it had that gradient color. Now I'm just going to take some glue, put a few drops in the back, and I'm just going to line that up exactly with the bottom and the sides of the base piece and just overlap it there. And this little lemon lime duo is ready to put in your market cart with your other lemon decor. I'm going to give you an overview of all of the projects in the Sunny Mini Decor set of this kit. All the projects are going to work with the 3 interchangeable pieces, and there'll be little decor to tuck in. The first interchangeable piece is our round frame piece, which is the beach ball that just pulls in and out from that. And then we have the little parts that are going to go on to the cart, which would be the banner and the little beach ball. Then inside the cart is going to go the sun, the flip-flops, the little drink, and finally we've got our double-sided garland tag that's going to hook on to the garland base that we made earlier with that little D-ring at the top. Goes right onto the clasp. The little beach ball has got that magnetic backing that goes right into the top. Then your little sun, gnome, the flip-flops, and the drink tuck right on in. And there's little hooks that are going to slide right into those slots on the Hello Summer banner. And that is going to hang right off the front of the cart. And those are all the projects we are going to make for the Sunny Mini Decor set. We are going to decorate your beach ball window insert. This is the little 1-inch piece that's going to go at the top of the market cart into that magnetic opening. This is what it looks like all finished. I'm going to show you how I painted mine. It's really an easy project. There's basically 2 parts to paint and then the magnetic backing. You're going to get your base piece, which is going to have scored lines, and then an overlay that's going to go over the top that's going to correspond and match up with those scored lines. I went ahead and painted the entire base piece blue on mine. The reason I did that is the markers kind of take a little better when there's already some paint on your disc. So I just painted it blue, then I drug my toothpick through, and then I'm taking a marker and going in 2 of the sections and I'm just coloring over with orange. If you go over the lines a little bit, it's not a huge deal because that overlay kind of covers it up. So you're just going to line your overlay up. You are going to take your toothpick and put on a little glue. I have my fine applicator tip on my glue, so I just put that on and I'm just lining that up very carefully, and while it takes a few seconds to set up, I'm making sure all my edges are lined up correctly. Then I'm going to expose the adhesive on my magnet by removing that paper backing, tapping it right to the middle, and then your piece is done and ready to display at the top of your market cart. Next up is our Hello Summer Market Cart banner. This kit consists of the banner base, the hello and the summer, and the 2 little hooks. It has got these scored lines for you to guide you for painting in that rainbow, and the hello and the summer have adhesive backing on them. I used a little bit of base paint and some markers to complete this one. It's a pretty quick project. I painted the base white and then we're going to color in with some markers, and when it's all finished, it's going to hang right on the front of that cart with those little hooks, and we'll show you that at the end. The main thing I did was I just took my sponge and I did 2 coats of white paint on the top of the banner base. Then I took my toothpick and made sure that my line stayed nice and crisp so it'll be easy for coloring in my rainbow. We're going to color in the little adhesive back words first. To do this, I take a piece of painter's tape and I just make a loop with it and I stick the word right on there, and I'm doing a blue on this one. I'm not wild about the blue that I picked, so I'm just going to go over it with another shade of blue to give it a little more color. But basically when you're done, you just set it aside and it's ready to roll. On the summer, I'm just doing a nice bright yellow. A lot of times with yellow, depending on the shade of it, you may have to do 2 coats. I think I did 2 on this one. So here I've got my market cart banner, and what I've done here on my marker is you can switch them from a bullet tip to a fine tip, and I'm taking that fine tip here and I am just outlining really close to that line where I'm going to color in so I don't go over that line. So once I have that outline done, I just go ahead and I color in. I'm doing kind of a darker purple on this one. You can see on the other one I did a lighter, more lavender purple. You can do whatever color you want, of course. And then I'm going to come in here and I am going to color in the other part of the rainbow in orange. And I'm showing you here how I switch out that marker tip. It comes with a tweezer, didn't have it with me, so I just pulled it out with a paper towel, flipped it over, and then now you can see you've got that fine point instead of a chisel point, and it's going to make it easier for outlining. I'm just bringing it up to my eyes so I can see what I'm doing. Again, I've got poor vision. I've got the vision of a fruit bat, basically, and I have to bring it close so I can see what I'm doing. So I flip that over to the chisel point again, and then or bullet point, and I am coloring in the orange. Once that's dry, the next step is to just place the hello and the summer on there. The summer goes towards the bottom. I just kind of eyeball and center it and get it on the bottom. I'm just exposing that adhesive by pulling off that paper backing. And you just want to be sure where you put it, because with that adhesive backing, once it's on there, it is on for good. It is stuck. So you can see the hello. I'm just pulling off that backing there. And I like to do this on these little letter pieces because then you don't have any glue that's going to seep through and show on your project. Once it is all done, then it is ready to hang on our market cart. So your little hooks just go right through the front like that. And then once you have both your hooks on, you just hang it right on your market cart to go with the rest of your sunny decor set. Next up, we will be doing our sunny double-sided garland tag for our interchangeable garland base. Here's what the finished product looks like with that little white D-ring at the end that is going to connect to that clasp on the base garland. It's double-sided, welcome summer on one side and a sun on the other side. That word summer and the little sun that goes in the welcome summer are self-adhesive. That they have the little adhesive backing already on them. You'll just remove the paper off the back and they'll stick right on. The word welcome on that side also, just so you know, is pre-engraved or scored in there with a pretty thin font. It would be a hassle to glue, so we just did it right on that pre-painted tag for you. That white on that tag is the same white that is on the market cart base. This is what your little sun on the other side looks like. There's three pieces, the rays, the inner ring, and the middle. I colored all the pieces on this tag with markers. You can use your swabs if you want with paint, but I'm telling you that markers were great for this. For the string, there's a little twist tie for you to use again, and your beads and the D-ring. And if that twist tie is too thick, remember you can cut it down to the wire with your scissors. So again, that word summer has got adhesive backing as well as the teeny tiny sun. That's just so it goes on easier. It's the glue won't show, etc. The bigger piece, that's not an issue, but these skinny pieces, it can be an issue. So I am going to go ahead and make another one of my little painter's tape loops, sticky side up, and putting the word summer on it. And I'm going to color that in with a pretty beachy blue paint marker. Again, the paint markers I used on this project, most of them are from Arteza, and the link for them is down below if you are interested. I had a 40-pack and it worked great because there's every color of the rainbow under there, and often you get just great coverage. 1 or 2 coats is all you have to do. I'm going to start speeding this up now, and we're going to get the word summer all filled in quick fashion. And then after that, to color in the sun and the little center of the sun, I use a yellow and an orange. On those 2 pieces, I did 2 coats, especially on the yellow, because yellow is yellow and it never covers decent. So I did do 2 coats of the yellow, and the orange I think I only needed to do 1 coat in the center. Once that is done, then we're going to get to work on our big sun that's going on the other side, and that had the 3 pieces. Again, I did yellow on the outer, and on the inner ring I did a different color yellow, and on the center I had started out with yellow and I just went over it with an orange marker. That just gave it a little dimension. So basically I just have 3 shades on that. So there are all our pieces all painted up and ready to go on the tag. Putting the tag together is quite simple. We will do the welcome side, and then there is the sunny side that's going to have the big sun on it on the blank side. We'll do that side first. So for the sun rays, I'm just going to take my paint. Again, you're just going to put a little bit of paint using your super glue and your toothpicks. I've got the fine applicator tip on my Star Bond glue, so that's what I'm using. I just did super tiny drops, and I'm pushing it down so I don't have any excess. Then I'm kind of putting it on liberally in the middle to do the ring and the center. That is not going to ooze out and show, so it's quite easy to glue those in. And they just fit right inside each other. Then we'll flip it over and we will get to work on our welcome summer side. The little sun is going to go in the upper right hand corner above the word welcome, and the word summer is just centered on the bottom of the tag. Again, it's adhesive. You just remove that adhesive by peeling it off, or remove the backing by peeling it off. Then your adhesive is exposed. It's just a very thin layer of double stick tape that is on the board when I cut it. And you just press it down, and then I'm going to do the outer ring of the sun. I probably have to bring it closer to look at it, get that off, and I'm going to put that up in the corner. Doesn't matter what angle it's at or anything. And then I'm going to do the center, same thing. So now your tag is assembled and ready to go. We just have to work on the bead portion of it. And again, remember, if that twist tie is too thick, just take your scissors and trim up either side of it so it's just basically the wire, because these beads have a little bit of a smaller opening. So you're going to have your beads. You can decide on whatever order you want to use them. You've got your string, your D-ring, and your ribbon, and that's what we're working with now. So here is, I'm showing you how I just trim that up super quick so you can see, because it was a little thick for, I believe, to get through that flip-flop. So I wanted to thin it up a little bit. So basically I just have the wire left. I'm going to fold that in half. I'm going to unravel my string and get that ready to loop through the D-ring. I'm doing the string double thickness again, just so you know. That gives it extra sturdiness and less chance of breaking. And if something does break, you still have a strand in there to hold it all together. So I'm going to unravel my string and get that ready to roll, and take out my D-ring. And again, I give you way more string than you need, so if you've got additional beads that you want to add, go ahead. This little set of beads is pre-painted in summer colors, so you can use them in conjunction with anything you have, or if you just want to use what I sent you, that's fine too. So we're going to get ready to string them on. See, I've got the D-ring there, and I'm just putting a loop through it, and then I'm just feeding the other end of the string through that loop, and I'm going to pull it tight. So that way you don't have to do a knot or anything. It's just on there with that slip loop, and it's ready to roll. Then I'm deciding on my order of the beads. I am starting off with the flip-flop first and building up from there. The flip-flop has got the tiniest hole opening, so I just figured I'd start off with that, and then the rest should be super easy to thread on. So there is my needle that I made out of the twist tie. I'm pulling that flip-flop through all the way to be even with the D-ring, and then I'm just going on in whatever order I feel like doing for my accent beads. You're going to get beads that are similar to this. They may be a little bit different in color. The flip-flop might be pink or it might be green, but you will get, I believe, 7 of these little beads that go on and make a nice accent for that tag, and then they coordinate with the base. Once you have it all strung on, we are going to do the same that we are with all our tags. We'll pull it through the bottom, and we're going to leave just a little slack for our ribbon, but I'm going to go back and through the hole again, back to front. And then just like we did with our base garland, we are going to go back up through a couple of beads and then start making a knot to secure everything. So I'm going up through at least 2 beads. That way we can hide that knot behind the bead once we make it. I like to cut off my excess at this point. It's just going to get in the way. So I separate my 2 strings and I make 1 square knot there, and then I flip it over so it's going to wrap around on the other side, and then I make a double knot, and I am going to cut off the excess as close to the knot as possible. If you have a little slack, that's okay. The reason for the slack is we have to have a spot for our ribbon. So there I've got my double knot ready to go, and now our string is nice and secure. And now I'm going to just hide it right under that pink bead, and you don't see the knot at all. And now I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to give it a twist in the middle. This is wired ribbon, so I like to twist it down. And I'm just doing a 1 knot around between the last bead and the top of the tag, and I'm just pulling it tight, and then I'm shaping my ribbon and taking my sharp scissors, and I am going to trim it, kind of like a bird's beak. This is where those sharp scissors come in, nice and handy. Also, if you see your ribbon is fraying, you can just do a little hairspray on it. You can do fray check or a thin bead of glue like I am doing right here. And that keeps your ribbon from fraying. And then your tag is ready to attach to the garland base. Now we will do our beach ball round sign insert. This probably looks familiar. It's just a larger version of that little window insert we had. It's got those scored lines so we know where our paint should go. And that overlay that goes over and gives it a nice, neat, and clean look. For painting this piece, I just took my sponge and painted everything a nice beachy blue, first with some chalk paint. I went through the score lines just so I'd have a nice guide for where to paint, and then I took a darker blue marker and did that. The beach ball overlay, I just used that white marker like you get in your bonus kit to do the overlay. It just worked better that way. And I just took a toothpick in that circle after I was done coloring it in. So I'm just sticking down with one of my tape circles. I'm going to the thin side of my marker, and if you've got your tweezers, use them. Otherwise, a paper towel is just fine. I'm swapping it out, and I'm going to outline the 2 areas where I want to color in with the dark blue, and just kind of double checking how that's going to look. So I'm just finishing up coloring that in with a darker paint marker. And then once that's done, I'm going to take my white painted overlay and I'm going to just do a test placement on it and see how that looks. You can see if you go over a little bit on that painting, it really doesn't matter because that overlay is going to cover up any small mistakes that you may make. Here I'm just doing a second coat of the white. I had a couple pieces that I maybe touched or got blue on them or something, and I'm just doing a touch-up. And then finally, I'm going to line it up. And one last time, get my glue on. You just need glue in a couple little spots. Again, you're just going to use your toothpick to get some glue in the middle and at those intersection points. And then I'm real careful to line it up before I press and adhere to make sure that the overlay and the backing line up perfectly. I'm just taking it away from the camera for a second to make sure it's lined up, and I'm pressing it together to adhere it. And this is what the final product looks like in the ring frame. It's time to make sunshine. That is what we are doing with this project. It's a little sunshine gnome almost, but he sits in your tray with his little sunglasses. It's got a scored out part in the middle and a little placement guide for the sunglasses. They're little inserts. And then your little 2-piece mouth, upper and lower lip, which has got an adhesive backing on it. Since it is so tiny, it makes it very easy to place. So I went ahead and I painted the entire base of that sunshine a yellow. I did blue on the glasses. I did the lenses blue at first. Now I decided I'll make them black. I did black on the upper lip and red on the lower lip. That inside that scored base, or that scored circle, I am going to paint that orange with an orange marker. I did go around when the yellow paint was wet, and I went with the toothpick and scored it in, so I had that nice even line to go with. Here I just did that swap on the marker to the fine tip. I'm outlining it, and then I'm coming back, and you can see I'm just coloring in the whole thing with the orange. I did do 2 coats with the orange to make it nice and bright, because I prefer it to be a nice bright orange. Then what I'm going to do is glue on the glasses after I get the lenses and the lips all painted. Once those are all painted with markers, I'm going to take those glasses, and you don't need a ton of glue for them. All you need to do is put a very small drop of glue in the center bridge of the glasses and a little drop of glue on either end of it. And you can see there is placement, a scoring line that will be visible. It's just not very visible on here because I have went over it with a marker, but you'll see it well enough to get it on yourself. So there's where I'm just doing that one little drop there, the one little drop there and there. That's all you need for glue. Again, you can just use your toothpick method to put the glue on. And I'm just taking a good look at that little sun face, and I'm putting the glasses right on where they go. I have to bring it up close to get them good and lined up. And the middle looks sloppy, but that's going to get covered up by those lenses anyways. So just put a little bit of glue on the inside, and that's why you don't need much on the glasses, because the glue from the lenses is going to help hold it in too. And either lens works in either one. It doesn't matter which one goes in, the left or the right. Then, since the mouth parts are adhesive, you just have to pick one off and get the adhesive off, and then line it up. There's the little half circle where that goes. So I'm just getting that off, and I'm lining it up with the top of that little half circle that's there. Again, having to bring it close so I can see what I'm doing. Pressing it down, and then I will do the lower lip. Just checking it for placement and get that in there. And then this little project is done and ready to be tucked into the market cart. Let's make this adorable mason jar mug that will sit next to the sun in your market cart. Here's what it looks like all finished. You have got these parts. We have got the base that's got everything scored in it, the overlay, the outline of the fruit, and the slice part of the fruit. I used blue markers on the outline, and then I painted the base white, and you're going to see that in a minute. I just used a sponge, and then I used markers for the slice and the ring around the slice. So again, like I said, I went ahead and on the base, I just took my sponge and did white chalk paint. And then I took my toothpick and drug it through the wave part. The other circle is just for placement, so I didn't worry so much about that because that's going to get covered up. I decided that the fruit inside my jar is going to be a lime, so I colored it a lime green with a marker. Again, you could use paint, but marker works easiest for this. If you're going to use paint, you can go ahead and use the swabs that I've included in the kit and put paint on those and use them. I did orange for the rest of the bottom, and I left the top part white. I just used orange markers there. For the fruit slice, on the inside of it, I'm just using a white marker like the one you got in your kit, and I'm coloring that white. And you can see how nicely these markers cover. This oil-based white one that you got gives really nice coverage. And And then I'm just doing a green around the outer rim to give it that appearance of a lime. So I'm just using kind of a powdery lime green on that. Now it's time to start putting this little guy all together. So you're going to let your paint dry, and then we will start off by getting our glue, and you're going to need your toothpick for this because some of the parts are very thin. We'll get the fruit in there. So we're going to do the outer ring first, and that is just going to line up with that green circle on your jar base. So there, I'm just lining that up and pressing it down, and you don't need much glue because you're going to have glue on the inside. I just went right around there, and then I did the white of the fruit, and that's ready to roll. Now we just need to get a little bit of glue on the detailed part, or the overlay, the jar overlay, and I'm just lining it up to make sure everything looks good. And again, I'm just doing a couple little drops here and there. You'll use your toothpick for placement, not toothpaste. And you're going to go ahead and line that up. I will probably have to bring that a little closer to me to make sure, but just pressing on the handles on the side and on the top and the bottom, and then you get a nice lineup. Now, if you have any extra glue, you can take one of your swabs and just kind of absorb it up with that, and that should take care of it. But otherwise, this is ready to go in your cart. Let's make some flip-flops. This will go in your market cart as well, with the little mug and the sun we made earlier. Here is a close-up look of these little flip-flops. It's another easy two-piece project. You paint the base with your sponge or a marker. I used a light blue chalk paint that I had. I used a marker on the overlay. If you don't have a marker, you could use the swab like I was showing there. But the marker does work best, and I did give you a white marker in the bonus, so if you got the bonus, then you can just use that. Once they are done, you just line them up and do your gluing. So we are going to do that. You will take your glue with the fine tip applicator, put it on. Again, if you want, you can just put a little bit on the end of a toothpick. You don't need much glue. It's a very small piece. And then you are going to take and line it up as best you can on the top, bottom, and sides, and press together and hold, and your flip-flops are done. That's it, creative friends. We did it. Can you believe it? We did 27 projects in this video. How fun. And I love how they turned out. I can't wait to see yours. If you're interested in our kits and getting on the subscription box, all the information is down below. In the meantime, I'm going to let the music play and watch how we have styled the kits ourselves. You guys have a great creative day, and we'll see you on the next video.